Welcome, everybody, to Got a Lot in Our Minds. My name is Stevie B. This is episode 19. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. We appreciate you all being here, taking the time out, whether you're on your morning drive, if you're listening during your workout. If this is just background noise to put you to sleep, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. My co-host.
What's going on? I am Kells. You can find me at Kells55. Check out the podcast at Got a Lot on Our Minds. And yeah, episode 19. We're getting there. Getting up there.
Gang. Episode by episode, baby. Brick by brick.
Right? You just got to take a little at a time. Any progress is progress still.
Season 1.
Season 1.
I don't know what season 2 has in store, but I would like, hopefully...
You don't want to know.
Hopefully by season 2 we can not do these through Zoom meetings and we can just actually... I feel like I could have a lot more fun if it wasn't through a Zoom. Yeah. Not that they're bad, but then we could add video content too.
Yeah, exactly. Put up some cameras and you can see our wonderful faces, which you don't get to really see. Get to see the live action of it, Steve's dumb face and me,
my fucking ugly mug.
You need a haircut, bruh.
I know, it's getting long. It's up there. I gotta go. I'll probably go next week. The top I can get away with when it gets a little bit longer, but it's the sides of my head. There's just no hiding that my hair is just a mess.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, kudos to you. You're still there. My hairline is is back at the back of my head, so I gotta do what I can. I've got the balding at the top, the thinning out, and then also the receding hairline, so well, it's nice.
I have the balding at the top too. It's just harder to see because not many other people see the top of my head.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure dudes that are tall and you walk by all the time ha, look at that guy.
Yeah, right. But everybody else is like, oh, he's got great hair. Look at that guy.
Like my cousin's husband, he's a little guy. I'm not going to shout his name out, but he's a little guy, and I doubt he'll ever see the top of my head. Even if I'm sitting down and he's standing, I don't think he'll see the top of my head.
No, you never know, though. You never make this happen.
Shout him out, though. Good guy.
Yes, great guy.
So what's up, man? What's good?
Oh, just chilling, living life. Still in the pandemic. How was your birthday?
Oh, here it is. Perfect. Birthday was good. It was chill. Obviously it's pandemic, so you can't really go crazy and do nothing, and it's very frowned upon to any responsible to go and meet with multiple people.
Yes.
So I did not want to do that. So we went to, I had to work. So I worked and came home, and then I spent the night with my lovely and beautiful wife, and we went to dinner at our favorite Mexican place, had some margaritas, and that was it. Got some fire basketball jerseys for my gifts that I'm pretty stoked about.
Nice, yeah. First birthday in a pandemic, huh? First
chapter
birthday.
31. Yeah, I know. I missed it last year. I lucked out. Yeah. So hopefully, I'm hoping I get my one birthday, and then hopefully from now it opens up, and everyone else can have more.
Hopefully,
I'll sacrifice if I have to be the 2021 where I got 20, and everyone else gets their 2021. That's whatever. That's fine. I don't give a shit.
That'd be nice. Definitely would like to do something for my birthday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. By the way things are going, who knows? I mean, I definitely like that. It's more of a. It's being tackled more now, with the new administration, and they're actually taking it seriously. So that's a plus in my eyes.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that sounds dope. I mean, you sent me the picture of the Luca, and that was literally the exact same one that I was thinking about getting. Because once I saw those golds, I was like, yo, those are fire.
Yeah.
Those gold jerseys.
And then she also got me the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air basketball jersey. So when Will and Carlton make the high school basketball team, they wear it's yellow or gold with black letters. She got me that one too.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either. I opened it up. I was like, wait a minute. This says Bel-Air. And then on the back, I think it says Fresh Prince.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, wait a minute.
What? I want to get one of those Looney Tunes Space Jam ones.
The Toon Squad.
Yeah, Toon Squad. I definitely want to get
Yeah.
one. I don't know who I want, but I definitely want one.
Yeah. That comes out this year, Space Jam 2.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things that are coming out this year.
Bro, the HBO Max is gonna be crazy with the stuff that they have lined up. So at least off the top of my head, they got Space Jam 2,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
King Kong vs Godzilla, which the trailer just came out, which is blowing the internet, and I was blowing smoke on Twitter about it.
Yes.
I
want to see I don't know. I don't think the Godzilla Kong one has a date yet, right?
It does. It's
it does?
March. Yeah,
okay.
It's March 31st.
So I need to wait probably a month and then just probably buy the 6 months for HBO Max and try to get as many as I can of those movies. That's my game plan.
Yeah, I don't know if anything comes out before. I think the Snyder Cut might come out in February. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie looks dope though. Kong vs Godzilla or Godzilla vs Kong, whichever way they build it.
Yeah, it's Godzilla vs Kong.
Yeah,
get your facts straight.
Yeah, I think I read in the other one. I think the original one was Kong vs Godzilla.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Because Kong was supposed to be the good guy.
Yeah,
and
the original
one, Godzilla was the antagonist.
Yeah. Godzilla was one that was just moseying down Tokyo, just beating the shit out of everything, and then Kong's like, yo,
bro, chill.
Yeah, right? You don't have to do this. There's a better way.
It's interesting with this one because it looks like they've kidnapped, if you would, Kong when you see him on the boat, right? They say Godzilla's destroying the city, which is interesting because he was the protagonist in the first two movies. So now he's the bad guy, but they're like, oh, what's provoking him? What is this variable that's causing him to destroy our shit?
Yeah.
And then now the theory is that it's Mechagodzilla.
That's what I was going to say, because literally the ending scene of the other one where they just have the head, that's kind of amping it up, and everybody was speculating that it's going to be Mecha King Ghidorah.
Yeah, I heard that too, that it might be.
So it doesn't, I don't know which one.
I've heard the theory that it might be both.
Yeah.
That there's two of them.
Well, you got to, the thing that, all right, so as far as the last movie, I definitely enjoyed parts of it, but there was a lot of it that I was just there was things that I think could have been better. And I don't know if they had the rights to all the monsters, but they just kind of, when all the monsters came in, they were just basically throwaways, They didn't use any of the other monsters from the originals besides Mothra, Rodan, and, Ghidorah. So it was
I'm not as familiar with the original ones. I think I've only seen bits and pieces of them, so I'm not fully versed in this as you and Charlie are and stuff like that. But I'm trying to remember. Did they kill off? They didn't kill off Mothra, right? They didn't kill off Rodan, or did they? I don't remember. Mothra,
I think, got heavily damaged or did die. I can't remember. No, I think she did die. It's been a while. But I grew up on watching Godzilla. Where everybody else was watching other movies, maybe Star Wars and stuff. Mm-hmm. I had all the action figures for Godzilla.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I remember watching the 1954 one, the one that was in black and white, and just being I don't know, it was just really fucking awesome. And then there was a lot of times when the movie All Monsters Attack was always on, and that's where the little kid goes has a dream that he's on Monsters Island, and then he's just chilling with Godzilla and Godzuki.
Yeah.
And Godzilla's showing Godzuki the ropes of how to defeat monsters and stuff, and I just remember that. Yeah, a lot of the, but even those had a lot better monsters. The monsters in the other one, didn't really do it for me. Maybe because I was like a purist. And then even like they had in the first movie the Mutos, and then in the second movie they just like added another one in there. I was like, really? You couldn't have just like took like the fucking crab or the spider from the other movies? So I mean, they have all names. I forget all their names at the moment. I can't
saving them.
I can't rattle
Maybe
off
there's
every
a movie after this one where it's like, so this is like the Civil War, if you would, if I can like kind of try to put a parallel here to the Marvel universe. So this is the Civil War. So even if like, I've heard too, the producer said that this won't be like a Batman versus Superman, where there's like even if there's like the Martha moment where they join together to fight a common cause. Someone said they're going to call it the Mothra moment.
Okay.
That there will be a clear-cut winner at the end of it. Where like in Civil War, there was a clear-cut winner. It was Captain America won.
Yeah.
You know? So even if it's like that, and necessarily Kong or Godzilla's, I would assume Godzilla's going to win. But even if like Kong's not dead, like there might be a movie after this where then it's like, oh, okay, now we need Mothra, Kong, Godzilla, and whoever else, to verse either one big. I don't know if there's anything bigger, or like a bunch of them. I don't know. I'm just thinking here. Like, if this does really, really good, which there's a lot of hype around it, why would they not make a fourth one?
Yeah.
Like
there's definitely ways they can go, because there is the Mecha Godzilla, and then there is the King. If Mecha King Ghidorah is not in this one, then I don't know if it is just. I mean, but they said that there's going to be other monsters, and you can see Kong like swinging like a fucking bat-looking thing. And that's not Rodan, so you got to speculate that there's going to be some different monsters in it at some point. The only thing I would say is that like, I definitely like how Kong looks in this one. I wasn't a fan of Skull Island or Kong Skull Island, whatever that title was.
Right, yeah, I remember.
I really loved the Peter Jackson King Kong. I thought that one was like really well done. I don't know how size-wise that one would stack up against like Godzilla, so that's the only thing, but I was a big fan of that movie.
It wouldn't stack up at all.
Yeah.
Because like in that one, Kong climbs the Empire State Building, right? So the Empire State Building is bigger than Kong.
Yeah.
Where this one, Godzilla like towers over city skylines.
Yeah.
So just to put it in like perspective there, like, I don't know. But
yep.
That's what I thought in the beginning of when they introduced it, and like they gave the title before anything was. It was like, oh, it's gonna be Kong versus Godzilla, and then you're like, all right, well, Kong is like drastically smaller, but then now you see that he's grown, and he's 3 times his size that he was. But
yeah, I mean, in that like opening scene, you could kind of get the sense that like,
well, they show that where he punches him, they're almost, Godzilla's a little bit bigger, but they're like right. If Godzilla's 6'3", Kong is 6 foot. Like, so
absolutely. Give me 1 second.
For those of you who are wondering what's going on, Chris's cat just came into his room and opened his door. So now all the outside noises from his house are leaking into the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if
he heard me when he was talking. I said, you have a visitor, because I saw his cat walking in behind him.
My cat tried to, he sees like a little opening and he fucking jostles his way in, and he owns the place, so that's what you got to do.
Fucking A, baby.
But yeah, I'm definitely, that's not that 1 second.
Uh-oh. What is he doing? All right, let's get the play-by-play here. Oh, this is not Chris's cat. It is it's a stray cat. Oh, now the owner of the cat has come looking for him. The owner being Chris's brother. Hey, Brian, you can't hear me. Okay, the cat is out. Will I edit this out of the podcast? Nobody knows. No, I won't. I won't fucking edit this. That's all going in the fucking podcast. I don't give a shit.
All right, you do what you want. People are going to fucking be like, all right, we're not listening to these guys anymore. All right, so Godzilla, yes. Your bets are on King Kong?
If he's the under and it's a bigger payout, yeah, sure. I'll bet on Kong.
Well, I'm saying between me and you, $20. You want
So,
Kong?
okay, fine. Yeah, friendly 20, I'll put on Kong.
All right, I'm putting it on Godzilla. We have proof this time. Like I said on Twitter, we have proof.
I got money to bet. GameStop made me money last night.
Oh, yeah? On your stock?
Yeah, I sold it this morning.
Really?
Which now I wish I wouldn't have done that, but
Oh, man. I heard it's going through the roof. Not through the roof, but I heard it's doing
shout
all right.
out shout out Nick Bailey. He popped into my job yesterday and we were talking about it really quick. And because I saw it was like trending on Twitter and stuff. And let me see what it is right now. 312. Yeah. So it's gone up a good amount. And we were talking about it and I was like, yo, like what is this like hype around this? And he's explaining it to me. And basically it's like this Twitter thread basically influenced a mass amount of the public to buy this GameStop stock. And it blew through the roof. And it became even more of a movement because like the people like on, I think it was like on CNBC and stuff, like the Wall Street guys were like really pissed off that this was happening. And because it was, I guess it was fucking up a lot of hedge funds. Like the owner of the Mets, supposedly, I forget exactly how this breaks down. I was reading it but apparently the owner of the Mets lost like billions of dollars because of this shit.
Really?
Yeah, like I swear to God. And so like the internet just started buying the stock. So I was like, all right, fuck it. It was like $111 when I bought it. So I bought one because I'm like, one, I barely know what I'm doing. Two, I don't have money to blow like that. So I bought one and then it went up and up and up and up. And then when I woke up this morning, 9:30 is when like the market opens. And I checked it around like 9:45 and it was at like I think it was at like 280. And I was like, I'm just going to sell it. Like I'm getting out. I'm out. Like I can't be doing this all
profit.
day. And yeah. So, but Nick said his is still in. So he's fucking riding the wave. So
Well, it's funny because like I did see it trending on Twitter and like it was like despite losing billions of dollars, this stock is like through the roof.
Yeah.
Like people were like, how is GameStop making any money? Has anybody ever been in a GameStop in like the last 10 years? But somehow it's still like, yeah. So I didn't know that was like because of people on Twitter just, doing things.
It was like people on Twitter and people on Reddit is just, from what I've read, it was basically just like a big fuck you to the Wall Street suits. Like they put all their money into this one thing that they, I guess, figured out they don't have. And it just really is kind of fucking with Wall Street right now. So
That's funny.
I think it's funny.
That's
myself,
funny.
Personally myself. So,
That's
and they're like, oh, this is not how this is supposed to work. It's messing up the chain of command and how things like the system and people on the internet are basically like, fuck you. We don't care. You gave us $600 stimulus checks, and instead of putting it into what you wanted us to, we all bought GameStop. So that's what it's like. What's happening?
You can literally like Reddit could probably fuck up the world if they wanted to.
If they really wanted to, yeah.
Because people on Reddit like it goes viral pretty quick, like in certain threads.
Yeah. So
that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I was talking with Nick, and he follows like these guys on Twitter who are in the stock market and stuff like that, and day trading and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he said Thursday and Friday are supposed to be big days, but I was like, I'm not in the position to gamble like that. Not that he's gambling, but like I was just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna take the money and run.
Mm-hmm.
So and go spend it at GameStop.
Yeah, right. help him out. Go buy a couple games.
So
that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, I think. Moving on from that, I don't know if you've been following the NBA. Like,
yeah, I tried to. I was just looking at the Knicks. They lost last night to Utah.
Yeah, I was kind of mad too because like we were up big.
We were leading at the half, right?
We were leading like pretty much into the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter was just disastrous. We went from like a 3-point lead, I think, to like losing by like 14.
Yeah, I know Austin Rivers had a good game.
Yeah, he started out 10 for 10.
Yeah, it was crazy. I saw that RJ Barrett played 40 minutes. No
Yeah.
surprise there.
No, of course. This is Tibbs' offense now.
There's also, I saw yesterday rumors of the Knicks trading for Derrick Rose.
Really? Who would we give
Yeah,
up?
I don't know. I just like saw there was a couple memes about it, and they were said, oh, the reason why they're starting Alfred Payton instead of Emmanuel Quickly is it? Did I say his name right? I might have fucked that up.
Quickly.
Is that they're potentially trading for Derrick Rose, and I'm like, I mean, I don't mind trading for Derrick Rose. Depends on what we give up. I still think he's got gas in the tank, and he's still a good point guard. But I don't know. Well, I don't know if it could just be memes running on the internet. There's no truth to any of it.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know if I want to trade any of the players away this year. I've been liking the way they mesh. And I feel like if you put, yes, there's obviously sometimes it works, but if you just, break it up right now and then, throw somebody else in the mix, you don't know how it's gonna work out.
Yeah. So I was looking at the schedule, and the next game is the Cavs, who I think it's 3-1 we've beaten them so far, or 2-1.
That
the
I'm
amount
not
of times
positive.
we played them. So I think we should win that one. But then after that, like, it's a rough schedule for the Knicks. Like, it's a tough stretch.
I mean, we just came out of the West, and it was like, I think we went 1-3.
Yeah. They play like the Clippers. They play the Heat. They play Houston. Like, it's a lot of good teams coming up. So we'll see, how they do. But
I think it's kind of like crazy to see the difference from last year in the bubble and now that they're not in the bubble, how many games are actually being postponed. Like, you could tell that, like, at certain times, and because of like contact tracing, a lot of the teams don't have enough players to suit up for a game, so they have to be postponed. And that was like,
who was it? Philly that only had like 7 players or 8 players like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and that's happened a bunch of times. Like, I think they postponed or canceled like 3 or 4 of the Timberwolves, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I believe
it's
right.
definitely one team that just keeps getting like a lot of games postponed, and it's just, you can tell that obviously when you're in a bubble you can maintain everything, and then there's like repercussions if you're not like abiding by the rules, whereas now it's like you're in the public, you're going on flights and stuff, so it's a lot different than just being in one area. So I don't know if they'll end up, if it's like still bad come playoff times, I don't know if they're going to end up in a bubble again or what they would do.
Well, I was actually, because you said you want to talk about this, I was kind of briefly reading what the bubble rules were. I'm sorry, excuse me. Ooh, see, that'll get it edited out, not your
not my lack of presence.
And the bubble rules were like, you had to they got tested daily. Like, when you had visitors, you were only allowed 4 visitors, and they could only be like your family, your so basically your wife, your kids, I believe, your parents, possibly, and your relation. Like, if you had a girlfriend for like a significant other that's not like your fiance or your wife, but they know you've been dating them, they were allowed to come in too. And the only way you could exceed like the 4-person limit was like if you had multiple kids. So if you have 5 kids and your wife would make the 6th, then like it was the exception of the rule. And they had to quarantine beforehand, test negative, come in. They got tested every single day. Like, it was a strict thing. And then now it's just kind of like you see videos of like Kyrie Irving at a birthday party with no mask on. And there's, at some point, it's just impossible to police people living life, like, and I bet you it's hard. Like, when you're in the bubble, you're in that confined space. So like you're there and okay, like I can't go anywhere, but I'm sure there were things to do for them, to kind of keep busy, where now you're in the outside world and there's like that freedom, like, oh, you know what? I guess I will go to A, B, and C, and D, today, or I will do this. And I don't know.
Well, if it's the difference of like having the food there or even just going and getting food,
Right.
like you can
Well, like
literally just get it like that.
I know a lot of guys like the easy one to point out is like LeBron James has a personal chef, which if I was him, I would too.
Yeah.
But the personal chefs and tattoo artists and barbers and all those kind of guys were, or even like it said like close personal assistants. So even like your business, like even if you have a guy that like is like your accountant or something and you're running a business and to go meet with him, they were not allowed in the bubble. Where now you can go get a haircut, you can go, your personal chef can come and go in and out of your house and all those kind of stuff. So there's all the variables of those guys too, if they're being responsible of where they're going and what they're doing. And
Yeah, the only thing that I know for sure is that they had on-site barbers. Shout out Reg, because I know
they had a
I know one of
barber.
them who was there. But like, yeah, I mean, you don't have the same, like you said, you can't really stop people from doing things when they're not like under 24/7 surveillance almost, When they were there, like there was one person who I think invited like somebody from the cleaning crew into their room or something, and then they were like dropped out of, like they were suspended or whatever. I forget exactly if the team dropped them or if they were just not allowed back. But they had like strict rules where now it's like I still think they have strict rules, but it's like, I mean, the Kyrie situation, they did an investigation to it, and obviously they fined him what was it, like the 800K?
I think it was something like that,
And then he did complete the protocol for like quarantining so he could come back to the team. So they still have like rules in place for that, because obviously it's not like you just like get rid of all of that because you're not in the bubble. But yeah, it's just hard to maintain that level, and you have more teams in it now too. The bubble was a set amount of teams, the ones that could make the playoffs, and then once the ones that are out, they're leaving. Once teams get eliminated from the playoffs, they're leaving.
Well, basically every week and a half, it got cut in half in size. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, it is interesting, and I mean, I think they're going to get through the season. It's just going to have to be patched in here. I wonder if like come playoff time if they're going to do another bubble.
That's what I'm thinking.
You
But
know what I mean?
I would definitely say that they're gonna finish for sure. I think that they'll just take it like they're doing it right now, where they're postponing games and playing what you can. I mean, you got to think some of the stadiums have fans in it. Like, I mean, they're still trying to do things in a certain way, But
Right. Well, that was an interesting point too. Is now you see other sports are letting, like specifically football,
yeah,
is letting fans in. So at what point does the NBA kind of open that money source back in and let the fans come in? And I get it. Football stadiums are a lot bigger than basketball arenas.
Yeah.
They're mostly always double in size, sometimes triple. So it's easier to space the people out. There's a little bit more room, But like, I mean, for the Buffalo game, they had to test. You had to get a COVID test before you were able to go to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll implement that.
Well, I think for the Super Bowl, what I heard was they're putting frontline workers, and I'm pretty sure obviously they'd be tested. But I forget how many people. I thought it was like 15,000 that I read or heard.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that number is correct. I'd have to double check it. But yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. Well, I know it's not a like a professional sport league considered, but I know the WWE is WrestleMania is in April. It's usually the first weekend of April or first week, and they're planning to do it in Tampa, I believe, with fans.
Okay.
So they're planning to do that too. I don't know how many.
So the exact number of fans will be 22,000, and the NFL has
For the
invited
Super Bowl.
Yes, and
Okay.
the NFL has invited 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers for free.
So
that's
it's
pretty cool.
22,000, and out of that 22,000 is 7,500 frontline workers.
Yeah, who are vaccinated.
Right. Okay.
So that's,
Now I wonder how many seats that stadium holds.
yeah, the Tampa I don't know.
You know?
Probably like double that, and you can just space people out. At least
Right.
that's what I would think.
I would think it holds at least triple that. Like if
Yeah.
that 60,000 you told me for a stadium, I think that's pretty good. Considering I think MetLife is like 87 or something like that. You know? Like Dallas, I think holds almost 100, like 90,000 or 100,000 people. So if you told me that can hold like 60.
The stadium seats 65,618. So
Yep, boom. Yeah,
like
so there it is.
a third, basically.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I definitely understand it. You definitely have to get back to figuring out some way to make it normal eventually. I mean, you do the 7,500 is pretty cool too, just to have.
Yeah. And at some point too, like, well, the frontline workers are vaccinated, so you hope that helps. And you would hope, I mean, if you're a person who's a high risk candidate and has multiple health problems, you're not choosing to go to the fucking Super Bowl of all things to do.
You would definitely hope that, yeah.
You know?
Unless it's on like your bucket list and you're just like, I'm getting there. But
And you're
either
like,
way.
this is the last thing before I kick the bucket. Yeah, sure.
Either way.
Yeah.
I would hope not. I mean, I don't. It's weird. It's tough to, we've been in this almost a year now. So eventually you got to figure out ways to do it. I mean, the more research you have, the more extensive knowledge that you can, try to combat it. Yeah, that's the only thing I could. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, you've seen it. You've traveled to LA and back, and you've done other trips during this past year. Like,
yeah.
It is possible to move about throughout the country and do it in a responsible and respectable way and not catch the virus if you are responsible on your end. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance, all those things take into effect.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem is like you could still be as safe as you can and then still get it. So that's just the only thing that's like scary about this particular. It's not like, oh, like, I don't know.
Well, what's frustrating is that the incubation time is pretty fucking long.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. I'm not a medical expert, but it just feels like longer than. Usually if I have a cold, like pretty quickly I can feel like, oh, I feel like this is coming on, or, other things. You get like oh man, I feel like I'm getting sick. Where this is like, you can go like 2 weeks and on day 14, it's like, bam, symptoms. And you could have had it for the past 2 weeks and you're like, Jesus, I felt fine.
Or you could have it and just not have any symptoms and then just still be transmitting it.
Is have no symptoms and you have it and you're like, what the fuck?
You're still doing your daily activities and then spreading it along.
Yep. So that's where it's.
But I mean, I think the NBA is doing the best they can, I would say. There's not like I don't know, they obviously have something implemented in place so that, if things go wrong, and they're postponing the games, they're just trying to make it still work, but we'll see. Speaking of, actually, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we just passed the year anniversary of Kobe passing. I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm not even gonna. I'm pretty sure you can remember like kind of like where you were last year when you like kind of found out.
Yeah, you want? We had gone out to breakfast for my birthday. It was like me, you, Jess, some of my family. And then we had gotten home and I was using the bathroom and I got a text from you. That is how I found out the passing of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. I don't know if I was playing games or if I was just like chilling, or I think I was editing after that. And then actually like Jeremy texted me and he literally just like peppered it in there. Like it was a long message and like at the end was just like, yeah, Kobe was in a crash or like, I don't know if he wrote plane crash or helicopter crash. And then like everything else like that. And then I think he sent another message and like everything else just like froze. I was like, wait, what? And then I had to like go on like every like news source, TMZ. I think TMZ was the first one that broke it, so that was like the first
Right.
article I saw of it. But I think by the time I found out, there was a lot more things on Twitter and everything, so I was able to like notice that, like, you know, there's not just one news article. It's not like that fake celebrity death that, you know, goes around every so often. So
Right. Yeah. Like every 9 months, like The Rock dies or Betty White dies.
yeah, or
something
somebody
like that.
dies.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just the rest of the day I basically did like nothing and was just like watching clips and like reading about it and just like, I don't know, it just changed the world. But
Well, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. Maybe that was the first one, and maybe I just didn't understand it at first. Like, sorry, excuse me. Where people were like, and no, sorry, wow, I'm doing good. No shade to them, but they were like, when people were like, oh, Tom Petty died, and somebody else, and this and that, and I was like, they were like, oh, I'm crying at home, and I'm so sad, and I'm just like, you know, when Michael Jackson died, I was upset. I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Like Robin Williams died. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But I can honestly tell you, like, I didn't cry, you know, like,
yeah, we didn't have that emotional connection to those.
I'm like, because like, I know the feeling of like when a family member dies, and I'm like, this is not that feeling. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that connection. And not that Kobe was the same as that either, because
Yeah,
it
exactly.
wasn't. But like, it just felt like genuinely sad. And I'm like, wow. Like, and I was like, all right, maybe now I get it. Like, because that is someone who is not that much older than us,
Yeah.
but genuinely grew up, like, me and you were big sports fans, big basketball fans, like genuine, like a big influence on our pop culture, our sports influence, our even like is much of a meme it became is like the Mamba mentality, but the mom, like, it's that the mentality of like you know, of being proactive and being a go-getter and accomplishing something.
A hard
that's
worker.
basically what a hard worker. Yeah, like that. Like, that became an influence for a lot of our generation.
You're basically going to push yourself to the limits to achieve what you want to.
For the things that Kobe he did and like how he carried himself, like, you kind of felt for a while like the guy was like he was like immortal, like, you know, and then just the way in the passing and was just so tragic.
It was just a shock. Yeah, I think that like you said, definitely a lot of people who, you know, past celebrities, like, they don't hit me like that, but the three that have hit me have been Kobe, Nipsey, and Chadwick. Like those, I think it's just like the shock of them.
Yeah.
And just being like younger people and like kind of doing like, obviously Kobe wasn't in his prime, like athleticism wise, but he was definitely in his prime of just like starting businesses, you know, coaching, making impacts on people, helping with the WNBA.
You can't, the viewers can't see it, but you're wearing the hoodie that Kobe made go viral for the WNBA.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he was definitely having his hand in a lot of things. And then just, I mean, he made a children's book illustration. What is it? He had like an animation film that won awards. So he was just like starting out on like his post-career and
his post-career life, basically, his ventures.
And like a lot of people, you know, fade away from the limelight, you know. Like, obviously Michael Jordan owns a team, but you don't see him as much, you know.
Yeah, and you could tell Michael doesn't like being in the public eye. Like, as you saw from The Last Dance, he didn't like it when he was a player. So now, you know, but where Kobe thrived in it.
Yeah.
He you know, Kobe forever, like, just in anything he did, Kobe was the man standing in the middle of the arena, basically, like, bring it on, you know, whatever you got. He was the gladiator that whatever came through the other side of the gate, he fucking conquered, you know?
Yeah, and I think as like, I don't know, there's been times when just being a Knicks fan, like, I basically hated LeBron. Like, I respected him, obviously, but like, there's a lot of things that were like, I would nitpick about him. Whereas for some reason I didn't do that with Kobe. So I don't know like the mentality of why. I can't like decipher that, but I think maybe just growing up, the Knicks didn't face the Lakers as much as they faced Cleveland,
Right.
So, yeah, just for me, I mean, I've just always, I think Kobe's also had like a level of arrogance or like just him knowing like he's the shit almost and just coming in with that Mamba mentality. And for some reason, whenever anybody would mention that, I don't know, just I would love that about Kobe, Whereas like, oh, people would like, say stuff about, I don't know, like maybe Tiger doesn't have as much arrogance, but like, I feel like obviously during his prime when he was winning everything, like he knew, like you knew going into it, like he's going to win kind of thing. But
right. Well, it's that confidence.
Yeah.
Well, it's one thing. It's like the problem is not the problem. But the thing with that is when you're like that, you have to back it up.
Yeah, and
when you don't, it'll turn on you really quick. But Kobe was one of those guys that always backed it up. It's not the exact type of mentality, but like you could see now, like with Conor McGregor, he kind of had that same like F you attitude, arrogance, confident, cockiness, all that kind of stuff. But he was winning fights, so people like loved it. They got behind it. It's fun to watch. And then his last fight, he gets TKO'd in the second round and has become now a meme on the internet.
Yeah, but I also feel like, and I saw this trending on Twitter, and just a lot of people noticing it. There was more of a humbling approach going into this one, where after a lot of people say like he got humbled by Khabib, and he just really brought back down to like reality in a sense. And I think you see in like some of his earlier fights where he's going like face to face and just talking as much shit as he can, whereas in this one, like after they go face to face, they're like almost, they're buddy. He put his arm around the other guy, and they're taking pictures. Like that wasn't happening in his prime. He was just talking shit.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there is like a level of humbling yourself if you do get defeated in certain aspects, or you just work harder. And I feel like, I mean, I think from where this goes with Conor, being that he says he still wants to fight, would be a true test of like, his Mamba mentality. If he gets back in the ring and starts beating people again, I think that would be another good like, comeback story kind of thing. Because he did become a meme.
He definitely could be set up for that.
Yeah.
But like to touch back on Kobe, I think what was so sad too is you started to see like his daughter starting to blossom and come into her own. And then you saw so much of her father in her. And you were like, you could already see like this is going to be so great when she gets older.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have that again.
Yeah.
And it was robbed from everybody, from her, like rest in peace. And everyone else who died in that accident too. I feel bad that I don't know their names, but they are part of the story as well. But it was just so fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I think like, I don't even know if it was like 2 weeks or like a couple months before, like you saw them at the game and it was that clip that just is going to live forever now of just like them talking about, Kobe giving her like the advice and just like telling her about the game.
Yeah.
And you would have just got like so much more of it. But
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was cool that the WNBA honored all three of them by like inducting them to the team.
Yeah. That was really neat. So, yeah, I mean, rest in peace to them. I'll forever fucking remember where I was and what I was doing.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy. It's been a year too. I mean, even through COVID and stuff, like there's times when like months and days are dragging by, and then when you're out of it, you look back and you're like, damn, it's been a year already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess switching gears a little bit, we're very bad at
segues?
Transitions at segues on this podcast. We'll get there eventually.
I mean, I don't know how
when we get some funding, we'll segue better.
I don't know how you segue from like,
yeah,
that to something else.
Maybe if we segue better, we'll get funding. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the
Maybe
attitude
if
I
we
need
get
to
funding,
have.
we can segue better.
Yeah.
Ooh, which way would it go?
I don't know. Only time will tell.
Yes. Um, you want to talk about, or you want me to talk about some of the other things that I had on my mind?
Let's get into this little nugget here. The last episode we were recording,
Yes.
episode 18, right? With Marty Haher.
Haher.
Haher, I'm sorry. Shout out him.
Yeah, shout out Marty.
We were literally recording it as the Capitol Riots were happening, like in real time. So we haven't spoke about that since, and I know you wanted to speak about that.
Yeah, I didn't want to like kind of drag him into it because I wanted to talk to him about like all of his running things and stuff like
Right,
that
yeah.
because he's just a phenomenal athlete and I wanted to pick his brain because it's the first time I had a conversation with him for, in a while. Besides like, social media interactions. So yeah, that was like, I guess this would have been a better transition. But like that feeling that I had with Kobe was kind of like the same feeling I had that day, only like maybe a little bit less. And I just remember like just being so fucking angry. Like speaking with Marty kind of like took my levels down of just watching what was happening and, feeling like embarrassed to be American, truthfully. Like that this is like what it's come to. I'm like,
Go ahead. I'm listening.
like literally, like, I mean, just like I remember texting you, like, basically, like, are you like, do you know what the fuck is happening right now? And I was
Hard no, head
Yeah.
up my ass.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I have cable, so I still know I can flip on the news, and I don't know how exactly I figured it out that things were happening. Obviously, I knew that through TikTok and other things, everybody was like, "Wait till January 6th," and I think in those videos it was basically like saying that it's going to be sworn in. That the not the impeachment, the counting of the votes was going to be like switched and swayed and stuff. Oh, that's why I was watching it. There we go. See, brain's working now because I was watching. I was editing and I threw on that in the background as just like background noise to kind of have something on while I was editing. I think I was just I don't know exactly what I was editing, but yeah. So from there, watching like the people object to the votes. The first one they've objected to was Arizona. So that ended up taking a couple hours. And then during that time, I think is exactly when, you start to see the mayhem start to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just since then, it's just been like how do you reckon with like what happened? That's supposed to be like one of the securest buildings, and this mob was able to get in there like that. Like that is literally what 2 movies were made about in fucking
Yep.
Gerard Butler, and like I don't know. There's just a
one
lot of
with,
things that are coming out lately that are that draw skepticism that like was there other people on the inside, because there's been like text messages that have been leaked that say that like some of the rioters had inside information.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, AOC went on like a live and basically said that she feared for her life. And she had reason to believe that other people inside like were giving out information of her location. Yeah, so there's just been a lot going on.
Well, that was 2 things like I instantly took away from it was like, one, I mean, at least me personally, for the guys, what do you want to call them? Like the Proud Boys or whatever label you want to
Boogaloo
fucking give
Boys,
these assholes.
white supremacists.
Whatever. If they weren't labeled domestic terrorists, I think they should be now.
Yes.
But what message does this send to international and foreign terrorists that might want to plan an attack on our country and our democracy and our politicians and our people that they just saw with it wasn't like these guys were marching down the street carrying AKs and bombs and guns. They were carrying flags and signs that it looked like. So imagine if a group with actual fucking ammunition and firepower came towards that building. They would have got a lot further. And that's one message that I saw to that. Like, these guys basically were let in. It wasn't. It could have been a lot more violent than it was.
Yeah.
So what if a group that had even less of a conscience and had no qualms about shooting, people, how easily would have took, and what else can they take now? What message does that send to foreign terrorists? And I'm like, that's fucking insane. And two, what was your end game if you actually got in there and actually got to the people, the politicians that were in the Capitol building? Was it going to be a hostage situation? Were you going to kill some of them? What was the fucking plan there? What was the actual end game?
Well,
if you actually got your hands on Nancy Pelosi, what were you going to do to her? And I'm like, this is fucking insane.
Some of the chants outside were hang Mike Pence. And that's somebody who they've been like proud of, or like who's been on their side but because he disagreed with Trump, now you're going to switch gears and say hang him. Like, literally they had a noose out there. Some of the text messages were telling them like the directions, where to go, and then they were in like a room, and then it's literally said gas them. So
that is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane.
And literally, I went to the city the other day, and you have like billboards up, like, those ones that like flash and tell you things. Like, there's literally one of them that says like, if you have information about the Capitol riots, like, send it to the FBI. Like, obviously they're not taking it. And then, I'll backtrack a little bit. I think a lot of people were angry because obviously you see how the two situations unfold, where you have the Black Lives Matter protests, and you have this where they're storming a fucking Capitol building, which is supposed to be heavily protected, or at least like secure, and you see the resistance and the police militarization in the Black Lives Matters protest versus here there's nothing.
Fucking night and day.
Yeah. So like, that's where a lot of people constantly have to feel like they just feel like every emotion, because like you're constantly showing them that they're like less, like worth less. And if that's in every facet of your life, then how do you like continue to be here, live like a normal life, if you have to worry about every little, we have the First Amendment right to protest, so like,
and that's, I just think it's so fucking crazy that these people, one, it's like a cult at this point.
No, it is. Absolutely.
And two, like, these people from these small country towns with one light in it, and not that there's wrong with anybody from towns that small and people from the country, like, it's not about that, but the fact that you think that this billionaire from New York City, like, genuinely gives two shits about you, like, I just think is fucking crazy that you are literally storming a Capitol building for him, and because you think that there was an unfair election, it's been tossed out of court because there's no evidence for it, and you just don't like what you got, and you have created this narrative that you've been oppressed, and it's your country, and yada yada. And I fucking hate the fact that, like, being like I'm an American has become like a marketing stereotype, and like it's like a fashion thing, and like no, America was known as the fucking melting pot that all people from countries came to. So being an American is not being a straight white male who rocks an American flag and a red hat on their fucking head. Being American is being black, it's being Puerto Rican, it's being Irish, it's being Middle Eastern, it's fucking all of them. And I fucking hate that they think that it's just America is these straight white males with guns and cheap, shitty tattoos. Like, I fucking hate it.
And literally, America has a shitty past that nobody wants to deal with. Like, we've never really gotten...
was founded on blood.
Yeah, we've never really gotten to the root
raping,
of...
like...
Exactly. Those are like the three pillars of fucking America, of
And
what it was
fucking
founded on.
slavery.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this country was fucking founded on.
And yeah, and that's like when you see and even like everybody who's like, oh, there was so much like rioting and looting and destruction from the Black Lives Matters protests. Like there has the police station that got set on fire, the person was from the Boogaloo Boys and he's been charged. So there was people in those crowds that were not associating with the Black Lives Matter movement. And that has been
Right,
proven.
yeah, they were trying to hijack the protests
and exactly
radicalize it and make it look like it was them doing those things. Yes.
And they've obviously succeeded in certain aspects, because that's what like the talking point of like fucking Fox is how like, oh, these caused this much in damage monetarily. And then if you think about it, like, I mean, people's lives are worth a lot more than money, in my opinion. I know other people might not agree with that because they say one thing and then do another, but you know,
it's crazy to me too that it's just like I have nothing against you being a Republican.
No.
You know, if you line up with, you know, if you're a small business owner and the way it lines up with you personally, fine, that makes sense. You have nothing wrong with being invested in your own interests, you know? And like a lot of my family and a lot of my friends are all for the Republican Party, you know? So it's nothing about that. Like to me, it's just when you have turned like into this cultist radical movement for Trump, you know, and you use it to validate racism and actions and just things that are decent human beings don't do. And my favorite too is the favorite of like when they're Christian too and they're Catholic, you know, like yeah, you all really fucking remind me of Jesus. Yeah, you're definitely doing what Jesus would do, you know. And it blows me away. You know what I mean? Like
Jesus was
just
chilling with the
crazy.
prostitutes. What do you mean? Like fucking, if you read,
I mean, some people have heard about the Mary Magdalene thing, but whatever.
no, not even that. But I mean, like he was like, it's not like he was just chilling with like the top 1%. Like he was out there in the crowds and like in the streets. But to go back to your point, I think it became less about the Republican Party and more about just one person.
Yes.
And they idolized this one man as being like their savior. And literally, when you do that, you know, and if you go back to him, this is not a decent human. He's had multiple bankruptcies. You know, he's frauded people out. He's tons of court cases. He has sexual assault and rape charges against him. I think up to 26 like cases. Like that's not a small number. He has said stuff that is very questionable. Literally, that's on film throughout the last 30, 40 years. There's no denying that, unless it's him denying that he said these things that are actually on tape or film or digital.
Right.
And yeah, and then his whole premise of his platform was was a violent stance, even if he's not. He literally said that I could go on 6th Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any votes. And
yeah,
obviously, as you can see, that is 100% the case. He could have done that and got away with it.
Yep.
Maybe not like in an actual, you know, court of law, but I'm just saying his supporters would find a way to justify it. And when you get to that point, then that's what's scary.
Yep. No, and that's got to be that has to be nipped in the ass.
Yeah.
And it's also crazy to me that like when I've talked to people about this, that it's like they feel like they think that a Republican president will never be elected again. I'm like, yes, they will.
I mean, I don't care who like I'd vote for one if they aligned with like what I think.
Yeah,
you know,
I would. I mean, for the most part, I usually fall in between both parties.
Yeah,
And like a lot of the times, like the independent party kind of hits a lot of the nail on the head for me, but unfortunately, they'll never win. But yeah, like it's fucking crazy, you know? And like, and if Biden starts going fucking off the rails and
Yeah. That's the main thing. A lot of people are saying like
yeah, I'm going to fucking hold his feet to the fire too.
yeah,
You
it's
know?
the accountability aspect where we don't care too much about who's in office. We just want them to align with our ideals and our morals. And yes, if they don't hold up that end of the bargain, then we're going to be pissed. Whereas I don't feel like, I don't know. I can't tell you. Thought process.
I don't know. It's very, I don't know. I'm all fired up now.
I know. I saw you getting all hot and bothered. I like it.
Yeah.
That's why we don't talk. That's why we don't talk a lot of politics on here.
Yeah.
Get Steve all.
That's why we have guests.
Fucking
so
blood pressure is gonna be through the roof.
That's why I can't find a job.
Get a. You're gonna have to get a Snickers because you get angry when we talk politics. But yeah. So that was. I mean, leading up to that, I definitely, since the new administration has come in, I'm liking the executive orders that have turned some of the things that I had problems with the Trump administration. One of them was actually even not even that it was started by Biden, but they just canceled the permits for the Keystone pipeline. But from what I've seen and read, it wasn't even that they were the ones that halted it. It was more during the last couple months of Trump's administration. Mm-hmm. But Biden was the one that just did the executive order not to renew the permit. So they'd have to like file a new permit and then go through like the legal system again, which I think is, and if you look at it from what that everybody's like, oh, they're going to lose, I forget what it was, thousands of jobs. But when that pipeline is finished, like it's only going to have a small percentage of them as actual workers to begin with, you know? Those are all temporary.
It was a lot of temp jobs that it was creating.
Which, yes, it's still jobs, but there's a lot more jobs in renewable energy.
Well, that was I was trying to look into it when they were doing the debates and the green, the big green, the
Green New Deal.
I forget what they called it.
Green New Deal.
Yeah, and it was supposed to, incentivize going with renewable energy, clean energy, and it was supposed to create, because now the shift in that create a bunch of new jobs, which I was on board for. The earth is fucking dying around us at a slow rate. I mean, I guess it's pretty quick, but we just don't realize it. But I was a fan that he I think it was the executive order he signed that to end the privately owned prisons.
Private prisons, yeah. I think that's like another contract-based thing.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that.
Yeah, well, because, I mean, I saw somebody, I can't even tell who it was, but somebody said that, like, basically, there shouldn't be an incentivized decision to keep or bring people into prisons. Like, that the job of prison should be to rehabilitate people, send them back out to society. But at the end of the day, if you have a business that is the ultimate goal is to make money, then you're going to do whatever you can to make money. So you're going to pack those prisons out. Whereas if it's like based with the government's job is to better the people. So if you have something like that where, you have the prisons that aren't privately owned, they don't have as much of a stake in it. So you're going to try to do your best to, actually rehabilitate people, not, just throw them in there and fucking throw them in a cage and, what is that going to do to help somebody get back? You put them in a cage for fucking years and then bring them out and then, just go back to society. Like, that's not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
You have to be extremely strong to even like kind of survive those conditions.
Yeah, I know people who have been in there and people who actually work in there too, and I think both of them have good heads on their shoulders, and they both have reiterated the same message, and it's just kind of like they treat them like animals,
Yeah.
and it's and I understand that you are in there and you're there to serve time because you broke a law.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think rehabilitation should be part of it as well. So I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, the accountability aspect is definitely there. Oh, and I've seen tons of people who have said the same thing, who they aligned with Biden more on ideals, and they are going to, if it gets to the point where he's not providing the services that we feel as a society we need, then in 4 years they'll vote him out. It's not like, we're not going to be like, all right, well, he tried. Or even just saying like, oh, I didn't really pay attention and I guess I'll just vote for Biden. Like, nah.
Right.
I mean, you have to actually even wonder if in 4 years he'll want to run again, but just age-wise, But yeah, that's the main thing is accountability, and that should.
I'm also not going to wear a blue hat that says,
but yeah,
with some type of slogan that says "No more bullshit."
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm
not gonna wear Biden merch. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, and this is when I was a lot younger. I've had one time where I had an Obama shirt in '08 when he was running. It was like the four colored. It was like him in 4 colors, and then it said I think like change and some other thing.
It was kind of like a couple different Andy Warhol kind of.
Yeah, a couple different slogans.
Yeah,
words that aligned with what we thought he would bring and stuff like that. So at that time, I had one shirt, and in all of my life, as 30 years, almost 31, that's the only shirt of a politician I've had. So,
and did that shirt represent, hatred and putting others down? And
no, and
it didn't really.
Encapsulated
No, it didn't have that
an
behind
ideal
that, right.
of who I thought would bring the most change, and I probably wore it once, and it was in my closet for like years, and then I just donated it.
It didn't have a notion behind it that, or damn these Mexicans and these black peoples and these gay people and these trans people. Yeah. It didn't have that behind it, right? It's kind of like where these red hats have say no more bullshit.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. What is bullshit? Yeah.
I don't get how you can just be like, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Like, how does that change?
That's the exact opposite of what this country is not.
Yeah, if you don't like something, you should come to a point where you can agree and make things better. Figure out, like, what needs to be changed and change it that way. Not just like, oh, you don't like it, get out. The fuck?
What's funny is there's a guy that I know, and he was a big Trump, still is a big Trump supporter, and he put something up. I forget exactly what the thing was, but he was like, just don't read the news. They're feeding you false information. Get your sources. So someone was like, they commented on his post, and they were like, I'm just curious, like where do you suggest I get my information? I'm looking for sources.
Yeah,
I'm open-minded, and I would like to know where you get yours. Well, I read between the lines, and they were like, well, what sources do you read between the lines on? I'm looking for an actual website or a news source. Well, they're out there, and I just don't read the bullshit. And they were like, I'm still waiting for you to give me where you get your information. That is the question I'm asking. It's a simple answer.
Yeah.
And he gave another like roundabout answer, and they were like, okay, can confirm you don't have sources. You cannot give me any websites. You cannot give me any news channels, any publishings, nothing. No people. There is literally, when I ask you for your information and your sources, you can literally give me none. You could just tell me not to listen to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is hysterical.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the times where it's like the roundabout generic, like, oh, just I don't have to do it, but you do your own research, you know?
I thought it was also funny that he's like, I read between the lines, like he's a fucking political science major.
Right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
I think, I mean, obviously, there's different sources that have their own bias, and you can tell that. And if I do watch the news, I don't like take it with a grain of salt. And I feel like I'm not going to say that the news is fake, but I definitely think that they like try to motivate you in a certain way, obviously.
Yes.
And I think that there's a lot of negativity that they feed us. And if you like go on a news source, it's like maybe 10, 15 stories that are like kind of crappier. And then you get like one happier source. And I don't necessarily think that that's the best approach, truthfully. But, and then obviously, like we've talked before, there's misleading news articles or ones where they're like more degrading, where they won't put like a name in it, but just describe them as a certain way. Or if like it's a black story and they're putting like a mugshot or something versus like this white kid who's like done something bad and they put like his high school picture, you know, there's definitely implicit biases in that too. But I definitely think that there's a lot of things that are based in truth with like, you know, like when I was watching like the insurrection, you know, there was a lot of like CNN and stuff actually saying what it was, you know, whereas I literally flipped back and forth from CNN to Fox, and the way they covered it was totally different.
Yeah, they are both polar opposites of, you know.
I would say though, the only thing that I wish during this time is that John Oliver wasn't on hiatus, because really, I mean, when he comes back, I think he comes back in February. I think he might touch on it, but it'll just be so far removed. If he had like an episode that Sunday, I don't know. I think it would have been. I really wish he would have just came back for one episode and then just been like, all right, peace.
Just done one.
Yeah. Just to fucking rip Tucker Carlson's fucking jugular right out of his fucking.
I can't stand that
the
guy.
human boat shoe.
All right. So before we wrap this episode, a couple, like 2 weeks ago, I put up a what's your favorite would you rather question.
Oh, okay. We'll get into those.
And we'll do those before. So Nick Parodies, shout out Nick Parodies.
Shout out.
He asked, would you rather die literally right now or live another 1,000 years?
Die literally right now.
You're going die right now?
Die right now. 100%.
All right, I'm going 1,000 years.
Oh, you fucked
If
up.
I'm guaranteed that I can live, like, is it like I have to try to live another 1,000 years? Or it's like you're guaranteed you won't get sick, you won't get hit by a bus?
No, you're guaranteed, so... Yeah, I'm
All
dying.
right, I'll take the 1,000 years.
I'm dying
and I'll
right
live
now.
to see the apocalypse.
Sorry, you'll see me at my funeral.
With a bag of dicks.
Yes.
Mr. Matt Smith, shout out Matt Smith.
Shout him out.
Asked, would you rather listen to Paul McCartney or John Lennon for the rest of your life? I enjoyed their music, both of them, but I'm not a huge, crazy, like, super fanatic about either of them. I'm not a huge Beatles fan.
I'll go with John Lennon.
Yeah, either or, tomato. I guess John Lennon. Noah Rosencrantz, shout out Noah.
Shout him out.
This was my favorite one.
Okay.
Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Fuck. 10 duck-sized horses.
I'm going 10 duck-sized horses.
Yeah, that's a big-ass duck, if not. 10 duck-sized horses.
Look, I'm thinking the size of the wing and the beak, and like if it pecks me and hits me, like, and a duck can still fly. So that's a duck the size of a horse that can fly.
Yeah.
So
they could just like sit on you. Yeah. Little horses would just, you just push them over.
I just punt them.
Yeah. That too. I mean, this is a fight. We're fighting them. Yeah. It's not like we're just being assholes.
I'm going to kick it. I'm going to punt it.
Yeah, true.
No duck-sized horses were harmed in the filming of this podcast.
Nope, not at all.
And then you asked, would you rather listen to What's New Pussycat 11 or 21 times? I'm going 21.
Absolutely, 21 times. Shout out John Mulaney.
Shout out John Mulaney. Hope he's doing good in rehab.
Yeah, seriously, that hit me. I'm glad he took the steps because we need more comedy from that man, for sure.
So, anything else you got we want to talk about?
There's probably more stuff on my mind that we'll get to on later episodes, but for now, I'm pleasantly content.
All right, very good, very good.
What about you?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm satisfied.
Nice. We also have to find a way to end these things because we just kind of.
There's always an awkward ending.
Yeah. It's like that.
Whatever.
That like
that's
ass
our
out,
niche.
It's our ass out hug, and we're like, hey, and then we're like goodbye, and then we're like, oh wait, we're walking in the same direction. Oh yeah, shit.
No,
your car's over there, my car's over here. Oh wait, they're parked next to each other. Shit, we're still walking together.
Shit. Oh, okay. Fuck. All right. This is all right. Goodbye now.
Right. But appreciate everybody who's been watching in, who's been listening in. Sorry, I know we don't have a video aspect yet. Yet is a keyword. Keep tuning in. Definitely follow us on social media. I'm gonna finally get to editing some of the highlight clips, and throwing them up there so you can get like little segments of what we talk about. Maybe not digest a whole hour at one time. You can just get little clippy clips. So yeah, we appreciate you listening, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
There you go. Thank you all.
Deuces.
Peace.